For people who are not familiar with the Hubbard House, you have a shelter and you also provide some crucial services for those who've experienced domestic violence.
Right. Hubbard House provides life-saving and life-changing services to survivors of domestic violence and their families. So we have the shelter, which is what people think of oftentimes. People who are in most lethal situation come in to be safe while we help them work out what plans they want for their future. But we also have an outreach center where we take in walk-ins, we have support groups for adults and children, we have staff at the courthouse to help people manage that system as far as getting an injunction for protection. We also have attorneys there now as well to help them getting relief for injunctions. And so we go into schools and we provide education regarding domestic violence. We are really everywhere because we want to get the message out to people. The more people learn that there's help, the more they reach out, the less lives are lost.
And as far as the shelter goes and your services, for those who need a place to go, a safe place to go, it's completely free.
It's absolutely free and it's absolutely confidential, and that's really important for survivors. They don't want everybody to know their business, and so they can come and stay free, and we don't tell people that they're there. They are in hiding. If they want to receive any type of services, those are all free and confidential as well.
And they can bring their children.
They can bring their children, and in shelter, over half of our population are children, and most of those children are 5 years old or younger. So we have a house that has adults, but just as many children, if not more.
And we were talking, and you said a lot of these kids haven't had a good night's sleep because they hear the domestic violence. They worry it's going to happen.
Right. So in addition to witnessing it and watching it, they're also in their rooms, hiding under the bed and listening to it. And they're worried, am I going to wake up in the morning and find that my mom is dead? If they even go to sleep, because you can imagine being that young and having to worry about the health and safety of your adult parent. That's a frightening experience. So when they come into shelter, it's the first time they've had a good night's sleep in probably years. It's the first time they've been able to go to school, not worrying about what's happening to their parent at home. It's the first time for a lot of things for these children that most kids take for granted. But when you live in violence, there's nothing you can take for granted. You can't even take the next day for granted as a child, and that's a sad thing.
You and the Hubbard House are on the front line seeing what is happening with this domestic violence crisis. How big of a problem is it here on the First Coast in our community?
Well, we estimate that we see over 5,000 people a year in all of our different programs. So that's an incredible number. We estimate over every 1 in 4 women have been abused at some time in their life. And then we're looking at the number of homicides related to domestic violence. Last year in 2016, we saw a 20-year high. And this year does not seem to be tracking very well either. I mean, people are dying because of domestic violence. And that's why it's so important to get the word out, to tell people, please, if anything, just call our hotline. Get help, because that could be the difference between life and death for somebody.
And you have found a pattern looking at the people who have died due to domestic violence. What did your research show you is the people who are most likely to die?
The people that are dying due to domestic violence are the people that are not reaching out for help. So they're not contacting Hubbard House. They're not contacting law enforcement. So if a person can just get up that courage to make that first phone call to our hotline and say, hey, this is my situation. They don't even have to give us their real name, but just reaching out and telling somebody what's going on in their lives so that we can safety plan with them. We can help them look at how lethal this situation might be. We can help them figure out, do you need to get away, and to do it in a safe manner, because sometimes staying home or going to a family or friend's house is not the safest place to go. It can be very dangerous if the abuser knows where you live. So helping them figure out, where can I go and be as safe as possible.
And so for women who may be listening, who may be experiencing domestic violence, what are the top 3 pieces of advice you can give them?
Well, I would tell them, you're not alone and we're here to help. This is why we exist, to let you know that you can get help and that there is help available, and it's not their fault. And then number 3, the most important, reach out. Reach out to Hubbard House. Reach out, if you don't live in Duval County, reach out to one of the other shelters in the area. Reach out to law enforcement, but get help, because getting that help can save your life, and we know that to be true.
Save your life, and when you're thinking about your children, theirs as well.
Absolutely. Your children or anybody else who happens to be there when the abuser shows up. And if that abuser is intent on killing you, that abuser is intent on killing everybody else who's in that situation with you at the time.
So these women are not alone, and help is available right here.
Absolutely.
right. Anything else?
Call the hotline, 1-800-500-1119.